Hello, everyone. We're going to be looking through the Phonics Benchmarks Assessment for Level K. You'll be using this for your kindergarten students before you begin instructing them for the year. And you also may find that you'll use this for some first grade students who are not reading up to par, and that's awesome. There's nothing wrong with that. We are able to find which skills they're struggling with and exactly how we can help them and how we can remediate. All right, let's get started. Oh, there we go. The first part, the student is going to choose the correct beginning sound. We always have a sample before we begin. And as you see here, the word is basketball and they're circling the B. You can walk your students through these instructions and then you can do the sample with them and show them what was chosen in the sample. It's totally fine for you to give the students the word. If they see this and they say hoop, and there's no H here, you can say, well, actually, this is a basketball, basketball, and that's okay. This is not a vocabulary test, so feel free. And let's just look at what the pages look like. Same idea, as you see on the left-hand side here, which is the same as all of the assessments in this program and workbooks. We have beginning sounds here, so students will be circling that J, the T. This is beginning sounds. And again, you are more than welcome to tell them what the word is. We'll just go through and look at some other opportunities that we have. And again, these pictures are super welcoming. Your students will likely have a really great time doing this. They won't have that feeling of like, oh, we finished already. They actually really enjoy this, which is great. It's half the battle when a child, likes what they're doing. So it'll encourage them to keep going. The next part, part B, student chooses correct ending sound. So here we're working with ending sounds. And of course, we're going to go through the sample with the child and we're going to have the child understand that we're looking for ending sounds. And what we did here is that we don't have the beginning sound as an option. So here for web, there's no W here. So we're trying to sort of encourage them to think of the ending sound. We want them to just be able to isolate web, web, b. Okay, it's a B, right? It's a B sound. So again, you're more than welcome to tell them what this is. If it's sort of really, really clear, but let's look at one that maybe not so clear. If they're looking here and they say lamb, right? So we're going to say, well, actually, these are sheep, sheep. So again, you're more than welcome to give them the word. The next part, students are articulating their corresponding sound. They're going to see a letter and they're just going to articulate that sound. If they add a short U, for example, if they're looking at this D and they say duh, ma, ra, that's incorrect. If they do it for the first one, and then we can prompt them and we can say, I heard a vowel sound there. Can you tell me what this sound would make without any vowel sound? And then they'll try again. And if they get that correct and they continue to get everything else correct, then you're fine. But if after that prompt, they still continue to add that short U sound, then we're going to give all of these as not met, and that's okay. We'll work through that. We'll explain that to them explicitly, and then they'll catch on really quickly, and it'll be fine. It's okay to write that a child has not mastered something. It's okay to establish that we need to work on something with this child. That's okay. Failing is not a bad thing. Failing shows us what we need to work on, and that's it. So you do want to be careful not to give mastered if, not to check these off if these are said with a short U. Part D, we're going to be choosing the correct beginning short vowel sound. Again, we have the same idea. Let's just look through some of these. This is itch, egg, alligator, no option for crocodile, right? Umbrella, octopus, udder, iguana, elephant, ostrich, astronaut. Feel free to talk about what an udder is. They've never seen that before. An iguana, they may look for lizard, right? So it's totally fine to turn this into a fun situation where you're talking about what is an iguana. Say the word iguana a bunch of times. Oh, udder. Cows have udders. What do we do with their udders? What do we get from their udders, right? So feel free to do that. And then we're going to find the medial short vowel sound. So yes, A is for apple, but A is also for cat, right? There's that A sound in the middle of cat. Pig, so it would be I, right? Pen, eh. And again, it's okay if they don't get these. If this is too complicated for them and they are not there yet, that's okay. That's something that we're going to work with, and we're going to work using the 5-part routine and other instructional methods. So no worries if they're not getting this. And we have some other opportunities here, same idea. The next thing we're going to do is simply articulate the short vowel sounds. A, eh, ah, If they say A, then we can say, great, that's what that letter is called. What sound does that letter make? And if they're still not catching on, that's okay. We're going to instruct them. When they get older, they're going to learn also that there is short and long, and that's awesome. You may want to try and say, well, what's the short vowel sound? Maybe they know what that is. Likely they will not, and that's okay. So again, if they don't get these, that's perfectly fine. The next part, students are going to decode single syllable CVC words. That means there's a consonant and then a vowel and then a consonant. And let's look at what these look like. This is one of those sections that need to be done one-on-one, as well as the other articulating sections. So when the child is articulating the consonant sounds, that needs to be done one-on-one. When the child is articulating the short vowel sounds, that needs to be done one-on-one. This also needs to be done one-on-one. Other parts of this assessment can be done in a group, right? And you want to make sure that you're going through each picture and explaining what that picture is, just in case, but that could be technically done in a group. But just to, just to note, this page and those other pages, they will have to be done one-on-one. The student is simply reading the word. It's okay if they say at, up, mup. That's okay. It's not okay if they're just doing up, and then they're not saying the word. That's not considered that they got that word. And self-corrections are fine. If they first said it wrong and then they realized and then they corrected themselves and read it correctly, that's okay. Of course, within within that chance. So if they here they're saying 8, and then they go here and say rut, and then here rap. Oh, no, this was at. So we're not going to give them that, right? But if they say 8, at, then that's okay. Part H, the teacher says words and the child encodes those words. This is also something that can be done in a group setting. The teacher is getting these words from the scoring sheet, and we'll look at the scoring sheet in a minute, but the teacher says 10 words and the child is encoding 10 words. You don't have to come up with these words on your own. They're in the scoring sheet, and we'll look at that very shortly. Finally, we are looking at student match a sentence with corresponding pictures. So we have a sentence, and we'll see what that looks like. We just show the child, look, this is a box, and we're matching it to it is a box. So here we have a few sentences and then pictures that correspond to those sentences. We want to see if the child can comprehend well enough using skills learned in kindergarten. I got a rat, and then the child would match that to the correct picture. I sit on a bed, I sit on a bed, right? And we can help the child understand what these pictures are, but we don't want to give them the words in the sentence. So we want to be very careful here not to encourage them too much with words, more with positive encouragement. And then we're just going to look at the scoring sheet. This assessment includes 100 opportunities. I call them opportunities because they're opportunities for us to see whether the child needs this remediated or not. All of the parts are listed up here. If you remember part H, where the teacher is saying a word to the student and the student is writing it, this is where you would get those words in part H. Everything else, you're giving it a check or an X. And this also serves as your answer sheet. So if you're not sure, what the picture is, a lamb or sheep, then you'll look at the answer sheet and you'll see that it's a P, and you know that it's sheep. And this will help you see where the student is struggling. Where are the gaps? Is the student having issues with beginning consonant sounds? Is it ending sounds? Is it articulating sounds in isolation? Is it short vowel sounds? Is it medial vowel sounds, right? There is a lot going on here. I highly recommend that once you assess this, or maybe as you're assessing, you color code wrong or right. So let's say students get this one correct, give it a yellow, correct yellow, and then this one they don't get, leave it blank. It's just visually better to look at the overall picture of your students' progress and your students' assessment scores if you're using the color coding system. So it's not necessary, but it's something that I highly recommend. I hope this was informative. I hope this helps you. But of course, I'm always available for you to speak to. If you want to reach out to your supervisor, we can set up a time, and I'm more than happy to speak with you. All right, have an awesome day. Bye.